Good morning, closeteers. Good morning. Good to see you. Um, so today we're gonna break up the monotony just a little bit. We're not gonna do part 3 for staying beyond the expiration date just yet. I'll do it another time. Today I want to talk about, is self-care selfishness? And I'm having this conversation today because this last week I've had some things to test my way of practicing self-care and putting myself first, and being made to feel like I'm selfish because of doing so. And so I want to have this conversation, and also ask you, how do you feel about self-care, and whether or not certain decisions you make because of self-care should be seen as selfishness, and if you feel that way, just why you feel that way. You can leave a comment or text me, however you want to do it. So this week has been really a balance, right? It's been a blessing, and also it has been trying. I had to pull some rabbits out of some hats to get some things done, or some rabbits out of one hat, however it comes out, to get some things done. And in that I got to see how some people really feel, right? And then I got caught up in a situation where I put two people together to do business and things didn't go right, but I didn't have all the information. I was like thrusted in the middle of what became a really big argument, a really big disagreement. And in this disagreement, it caused myself to have to reflect on myself, because I have a habit of, once I am seeing red, like once my anger is to the point of seeing red, I can no longer hear what's being said. I can't hear what's going on. The only thing I'm focusing on is what I'm doing and what I'm saying. And so I learned this particular time. I had already prayed that God help me with that, because I know that's a bad thing, that is a bad place to be in, when you can't hear or see anything else but red when you're angry. So and it takes a lot for me to get to that place. That's not my normal level of anger. That is a escalated level of anger. And when I get there, it's hard to come from that place. It takes a moment, right? And so it caused me to have to reflect on that. It was brought to my attention, the things that I missed in the whole situation, because I was so angry and going off that I really wasn't paying attention. And so I am still in prayer for that, and I would ask that you pray for me on that, because I don't want to be there, right? I don't ever want to get that angry anyway, but I definitely don't want to be angry to the point where I'm no longer paying attention and I'm missing vital and crucial information that could maybe even put the fire out, extinguish the fire. So that happened. And then after that situation happened, the person who I was defending, like, kind of turned on me. And so I asked the simple question, good morning. I asked the simple question of, why is it when I'm going in to protect you, or to help, not you, when I'm going in to protect people or to help other people, it's okay for me to go in. It's okay for me to be upset, right? It's okay for me to act a fool. But when it comes to protecting myself and I have that same energy, then I'm doing too much, or I'm overdoing it. And I'm like, why is it okay for me to be over the top or doing too much for someone else but not myself? Like, I don't understand that. help me to make that make sense. And so that started a whole different. Oh Lord, I didn't crack my other phone. Ooh-wee, I beat it up bad too. Okay, anyway. So that caused me to question that person's motives. And then, some things were said. I didn't see red this time. Some things were said, though, that made it like, you know what, I'm good. From now on, when you need help, keep this energy that you have now and don't ask me for help, right? Because you have to understand how you want to come get me to protect you. I'm that same person when it comes to protecting me. And so then in doing that, I reflected and I realized that people around me are so used to me being passive to a point. And especially when it comes to my kids or people that I love, I let a lot of things go that I generally would not let go. I would generally check somebody real quick and stop that. And so now that I've gotten to the point where everybody get that same checking, whoever you are, you get that same check when it comes to me protecting me, when it comes to me protecting my peace and making sure that I'm okay, whoever you are, you get that same level of being checked. And so in reflecting on that, I came to the realization that people don't think that you're mean or unreasonable or selfish until it doesn't benefit them, right? When you're like that and it benefits them, it's all good. But when you're like that and it doesn't benefit them or even maybe against them, then suddenly you're mean or you're selfish, right? And so we have to be careful of that. We have to watch that. Watch the motives and the intentions behind someone saying that to you, because I know generally we like to say or think that we don't care about what people say about us or what people think about us, when that's just in fact not true. As much as we would like to believe that there are certain people in this world that we do care what they say about us and how they feel about us, even if we don't outwardly show it, inward we feel some kind of way. And so what we have to be sure to do when we come across that situation, when it is somebody that we care how they feel or what they say, we have to be careful that we're not manipulated by it, right? And stand our ground with self-care, right? And I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, self-care is mental health care, right? And so that's where I am now, right? I'm putting me first. And in putting me first, I'm not being selfish and not caring about anybody else's feelings. No, that's not what I'm doing. But I'm caring about how things affect my mental status, how things affect my emotional status, how things affect my physical being, right? And so if that comes across selfish to a person, then I have to ask, what are your motives? Like, why do you feel I'm selfish? Because I feel after 30 plus years of being everything to everybody else, being everything to my kids, being everything to my ex-husband, being everything to my parents, I have decided to be everything to myself. Why then am I being labeled selfish? So make sure, that you begin to ask those questions, those hard questions that sometimes they put you in awkward spaces, right? It puts you in awkward places because you become at odds with somebody who you really care about and you really love, and you don't want to be in a bad place with them. And so sometimes we sacrifice our own self and our own feelings to not be in a bad place with that person. Well, we got to be careful of that. And that's something that we have to stop doing, right? Well, this is me talking to myself. And so this is a part of me being made over. This is a part of me making myself over with the help of God. I am taking inventory of those kind of things, those behaviors those words being spoken by people, right? When you say something like that to me, like I'm being selfish, you cause me to, instead of self-reflecting only, you cause me to reflect on you too, and my relationship with you too. Because if I'm telling you that this is me self-reflecting, and I mean not self-reflecting, if this is me self-care, taking care of myself, how can you call it selfish? And especially when you know. Now, for somebody that don't know me, that has never dealt with me, to come along and say something like that, then there's really no value to it, because you don't know me, right? You don't know where I've been. You don't know what I've done. So your deduction of that means nothing to me, really. It doesn't. But for you to know me, you to know my history, you to know my receipts, you to know the things that I've done for my family, for my friends, for you to know me and then to come at me and say that I'm being selfish, I have to ask why. I have to ask, okay, why suddenly do you feel that I'm being selfish? Like, because, why? Because I won't do what you need me to do. I won't be who you need me to be. So that makes me selfish. And so that's one of the things that I'm doing. And it's just crazy, because this week has really been surrounded with the test of, will I really take care of myself first? Like from the end of last week until now, this is how it has been, even to the point where I had to think about a job, because the job is over 300 miles away, but it's so worth it. I had to think, remember I told you my son was supposed to leave for college, and now he's changed his mind. And so I had to think, like, how is that going to affect him? And then I had to talk to myself and say, well, he made the decision. It's not that he didn't get into college. It's not that, he can't afford to go to college. He made a decision not to go to college. And I can't allow his decision that he made to better himself and to make sure that he's okay. I can't allow that decision to cause me to turn down something that's good for me. That was the beginning of the beginning of the whole test of self-care for me over this last week. Like that's the question that started all of this off, basically, or the statement that started all these different tests coming about, to see what I really stand my ground in self-care, right? So once I got over that, I made the decision, that I was going to do whatever it was necessary to put myself in the running for that position, because it's something that I want to do, and it's something for me, right? And it's not permanent, but it's enough. If I get it, it's enough to do and accomplish the things that I want to do and accomplish on my business side, right? On the side of being an author, on the side of being a playwright, on the side of being a screenwriter, on the side of being of writing music to go to the plays, because they are more musical than play. This will help me. I'm real big on funding my own projects if necessary, because I believe in the integrity of the work that I do, and I don't want anybody to tell me that I have to change things up because of how they feel, if it's going to test the integrity of my work. So I don't mind putting up my own money, right? But to put up my own money, I need to have my own money. So I said this would help me greatly be able to fund some of those projects myself. And so that's self-care. That's self-care. So I made a decision to put myself first, rather than to be concerned with how was my son going to take it? What was he going to do? How was that going to look for him, right? I made that decision. And so then from there, it just one thing after the other, with the test of people trying to get me to do things that would be contrary to self-care. And so I can happily say, for this week, I have been successful, right? I have been successful. I have erred on the side of self-care. self-care each decision. And that's what you have to do. Because see, what I can say for myself, and remember, when I talk to you, I am not a licensed professional. This is me, based on my life experience. And I am a strong believer in experience being a good teacher. What I can say for me, I love my children, right? I love my ex. I'm not in love with him, but I still got love for him. I love my grandchildren. I love my parents, siblings, friends, all that good stuff, cousins, all that. And what I can truly say is there was no euphoria or bliss in me doing things contrary to self-care for them over these 30 plus years, right? There was a lot of times where I suffered because I made decisions to put other people first. And I'm just not there anymore, right? I'm not there anymore. I'm not putting anybody else first. Not saying that I'm not putting you as a choice or a decision or in there. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if it runs contrary to what's going to make sure that I'm okay mentally, emotionally, and physically, then I'm not with that. I'm not doing that. And so if you have a problem with that, here's what I do. I'm not really big on unfriending people and blocking people. I'm not big on it. I will do it, but if I do it, you have committed an egregious act for me to do something like that. Because it's just not me. Because I know that a lot of times disagreements and arguments and stuff, they're temporary. So, and I feel like blocking and stuff like that, it seems so permanent. So I'm not really big on doing that. But here's what I can offer to anyone that may come across this video, that may be a part of my inner circle, my family, however. If you're offended by this new me, you are welcome, to unfriend me. You are welcome to block me. I'm with that. You do what you must, right? You do what you must. You do what you must for your mental well-being, for your emotional well-being, and for your physical well-being. I will never say anything contrary to you about doing that, right? So I welcome you to do that. But just don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me for loving me. Don't be mad at me for taking care of me. Don't be mad at me. Please, don't be mad at me for saying that I'm going to take care of self first. Right? Don't be mad at me. My kids are grown. And 3 out of 4 of my kids have their own families. So I think I've earned the right. And I have been there for my kids to lean on from the time they were born and even until now. I never put my kids out, oh, you 18, it's time to go. I've never done anything like that to my children, and I would never do anything like that to my children. I will be there for my children. I will be there for my children. However, my actual job of raising them is over. That's over. And I feel like I dedicated my life to doing that. And so it's okay for me to be where I am right now, where self-care is important, where my mental stability is important, where my emotional stability is important, where my physical well-being is important. And so that is where I am. And if you question that, that's on you. That's how I feel. And I would that you feel the same way about yourself. Love yourself. You have to listen. Let me tell you something I learned a long time ago as a parent. As parents, we would like to, of course, feed our children first, dress our children first. We would like to do a lot of that. But sometimes circumstances do not allow for stuff like that to happen. So here's what I pose to you. You have food enough to feed everyone, but for no one to get full, right? You'll put some food, you get some food in your belly, but you won't get full. And in that, there is one extra piece of something for somebody to have. If you're the person who go out to work or to school or to whatever to better the family, it is better that you get that one piece of extra piece of whatever it is, because you need the energy and the strength. Because what is your family? If your family depends on you that way, what are they going to do when you can't? When you're suffering from exhaustion or starvation or just stress? Like, what is your family going to do? And I've been in those positions, and we'll talk about those positions where I've known that sickness was coming on, and I've done some drastic things to make sure that I don't get sick because I can't miss work, because we're a paycheck away of everything tumbling down, right? I've been there. So having been in those positions, I could say what worked for me, and what worked for me was for me to take that extra piece of whatever it was because I needed it more. It enabled me to put in more hours at work or to put in more hours at school. I needed it more. I needed it more. And as selfish as that may sound, right? That's a sound decision for the longevity of the survival of my family. And so I had to learn to make those kind of decisions, right? I'm going to start headed home and talking to you guys. But like I said when I started off, please tell me what you did for self-care, how you feel about how I feel about self-care. And if you're struggling with making that decision to put yourself first, let's talk about why. Let's talk about why you're struggling with that, because I can pretty much guarantee you a part of that is caring about what somebody you love feel about you or think about you or say about you. I can almost guarantee you that, right? And so that's one of the habits that you need to break. That is one of the habits that you need to break. I had to break that habit. Okay? I love you guys. We may come back and talk about this. Do me a favor, Closet Tears. Click like, click subscribe, and click share. I'm trying to get to 1,000 so that when I do this, it can be live and that more people can get this information. Okay? Love you guys much. Until next time. Bye.